Hi all the students and viewers. Today we are going to study chapter number 5, in which the following things are included. Out of that, the first part, that is general characters of angiosperms, will be studied. Then outline of Bentham and Hooker's classification system will be studied. And the other part, that is comparison between dicots and monocots, will be studied in second module. So let's get started with this. First of all, we will learn about general characters of angiosperm. So the term angiosperm has coined from two Latin words. Out of that, the first word is there, that is angion, which in English means vessel, and the second word is there, that is sperma. In English, meaning of that word is seed. So angiosperms are simply closed seeded plants. So if you see, say for example, mango, this is the seed of mango, and if you see that this kind of shape of fruit of mango is there, so this seed in fact is covered with this fruit, and this fruit here considered as a vessel or a cover, and all such plants are called as angiosperms. So let us have a look over general characters. Angiosperms are flowering plants. They show greatest diversity in size, shape, occurrence, habit, and lifespan. The plant body is actually sporophytic because they produce spores. Plant body shows distinction of roots, stem, and leaves. The plant body is characterized by the presence of vessels in xylem and companion cells in phloem, presence of siphonogamy, and presence of double fertilization. What is siphonogamy? Actually, there is a pollen tube like this, and in this pollen tube, the gametes are present, and this pollen tube in Latin language is called as a siphon. Meaning of siphon is tube, and here are actually the gametes. So these gametes are being carried by this siphon or tube, and hence the word siphonogamy is used. And this word is there, that is double fertilization, because this one male gamete and this second male gamete, this first male gamete fuses with egg, and this second male gamete fuses with secondary nucleus. Because of two events, this is first event where first male gamete fusing with egg and it is forming embryo, and this second event where second male gamete fusing with second nucleus and it is resulting into the formation of endosperm. The number of events of fertilization taking place two times, this is one and this is second. That's why this phenomenon is called as double fertilization. They have complex and advanced reproductive structure, that is flowers. Here you will see habit diversity of angiosperms. So if you look here, entire plant is placed, and this is a finger. So you can imagine how small is the size. Here if you look into the second picture, this is actually a fenugreek. Marathi name of this plant is methi. So this is herb. If you look here, the rose plant is there, Rosa indica. This is shrub. This is Hibiscus rosa sinensis, where This is also a shrub, and this is Eucalyptus globulus. This is tree. So habit-wise, it starts from the smallest, and as you move here, it is largest. And here you can see the midpoints. So different things can be seen. Here you will see habitat diversity. So this is completely growing in water, aquatic habitat. This is growing in desertic condition, that is xerophyte. This is growing around seashore, that is called as a halophyte. Here you will see the negatively geotrophic roots are coming out. And this is epiphyte. Epi means above and phyte means plant. So these are growing on another plants, and they are just taking support. They are not drawing the nutrition. So they are epiphyte. Another kind is there, that is called as a parasite, where this parasite is actually growing on such a host plant and also obtaining the nutrition. So that's why that is called as a parasite. But this is not a parasite. This is epiphyte, which is just taking the support but not the nutrition. The carpel of angiosperm is differentiated into style, stigma, and ovary. We will see this in detail on the next slide. These are heterospores. Two different types of spores are developed: microspores and megaspores. Microspores are present within microsporangium, whereas megaspores are present within megasporangium. Both the male and female gametophytes are highly evolved. They are highly evolved. Male gametophyte lacks prothedial cell, while female gametophyte is without archegonium. Actually, these are the characteristic features of gymnosperms, where prothedial cell is there and archegonium is there, but in angiosperms these are completely absent. Endosperm is generally triploid and formed after fertilization, whereas in gymnosperm it is haploid and formed before fertilization. So such things are there in gymnosperms, but in angiosperm it is triploid and formed after fertilization. They show polyembryony, parthenocarpy, and even apomixis. Polyembryony means many embryos are developed. Parthenocarpy, that is development of fruit without fertilization. And apomixis is actually a kind of asexual reproduction. They reproduce very effectively even by vegetative methods of propagation like stem cutting, air layering. Various methods are there. In life cycle of angiospermic plant, the gametophytic phase is highly reduced, means short time or short term, while sporophytic phase is well pronounced and dominant, which is long time. Thus, angiosperm is highly evolved, very vast and varied assemblage of group of plants dominating the Earth's vegetation. So here you will see two different parts. This is a ground level, and if you look this part downward, that is the root system, and if you see this part, that is in fact a shoot system, where you will see, I'll change the color so that you can understand. If you see, these are main roots, primary roots, and these are secondary roots. Here you will see the stem, here you will see leaf, here you will see the zone, internodal zone, this point of arriving of the leaf, that is node. Here you will see flower, here you will see fruit. Here you will see entire inflorescence. These are actually parts of angiospermic plants. This figure is showing the floral characteristics. Here you will see this part. This is actually called as pedicel. This is actually stalk of flower. Then this part is there. Here you will see that is receptacle, that is synonymously called as thalamus. Then here you will see this part which is outermost, that is calyx. This part, that is corolla. This is anther, that is androecium, and this is gynoecium. And if you look here, this part is stigma, this part is style, and this lowermost part, that is called as ovary. Now we will move to the next part of the chapter, that is Bentham and Hooker's system of classification. So this is George Bentham, and this is photograph of Joseph Dalton Hooker. Actually, the system of classification they given, that was natural, because all the natural characters of angiospermic plant considered by them. They started working on this in 1862, and they completed their work in 1883. So this work was together effort of 21 years. Let us have a look that what was their classification system, what was the criteria, and how they did it. So George Bentham and Sir Joseph Dalton Hooker, two British botanists, published their monumental work in the book. Remember the name of book, that is Genera Plantarum. This book was in how many volumes? It was in 3 volumes. Remember these underlined words. In between, see here, it is 1862 to 1883. In this book, they gave the natural system of classification of flowering plants. Remember, this system was included only the flowering plants. They gave names, description, and classification of 97,205 species of seed plants for practical uses such as identification and classification. This natural system is very convenient and easy to follow. All seed plants were considered by them in this system of classification, and they divided that into 3 classes, that is dicotyledons, gymnospermy, and monocotyledons. Actual words used by them for dicotyledons was dicotyledony, and for monocotyledons they used the word monocotyledony. Remember, for your understanding, I use the traditional words monocotyledons and dicotyledons, but the actual words used by them was dicotyledony and monocotyledony. The class dicotyledons was subdivided into 3 subclasses, that includes polypetally, gamopetally, and monoclamidy, synonymously also called as apetally. The gymnospermy was not subdivided into subclasses and series, but they all directly divided into 3 natural orders, that is called as the families. And class monocotyledons are not divided into any subclasses, but it was divided into 8 different series. Thus, all seed plants, that is, phanerogams, were divided into, remember these statistical details, 3 classes, 3 subclasses, 21 series, 25 orders. Actually, the word used by them was cohort, but that is called as orders. And here they used 202 orders. Actually, the word used by them was natural order, but that is called as a family. So these name changes you have to take into consideration. Instead of the word cohort, use this word order, and instead of natural order, use the word families. But even you must know that which alternative term they used for family and which alternative term they used for order. So this must be remembered. Initially only 200 families were there, but later on 2 new families were added, and so that the ultimate number of families become 202. On this slide we will have a look over contents of this system of classification. So the first group of the classification system was dicotyledons, which included 165 families, 6,030 genera, 78,214 species, and their distribution is here: Polypetalae, Gamopetalae, and Monoclamidae. Distribution of genera: Polypetalae, Gamopetalae, and Monoclamidae. And similarly, the distribution of species: Polypetalae, Gamopetalae, and Monoclamidae. Then, in between this group, that is dicot and monocot, they put another group that is named as gymnosperms, and it has 3 families, 44 genera, 415 species. Monocotyledons include 34 families, 1,495 genera, and 18,576 species, and total number of families were 202. Total number of genera is 7,569, and total number of species described by them, that was 97,205. So this is a little bit about statistical contents of this system of classification. Here you will see the outline system of classification. So let's have a look that this is plant kingdom, and only this part is there, so forget about this, because cryptogams not at all included in this. Just for understanding the system, cryptogams and phanerogams considered here, but this classification system is completely related with the contents of flowering plants. Remember, that is called as a phanerogamia. This group of flowering plants differentiated into 3 classes. Out of that, first is dicotyledone, second is gymnospermy, and the third is monocotyledone. Now this dicotyledone is again differentiated into 3 subclasses. One is Polypetalae, this second is Gamopetalae, and this third is Monoclamidae. Actually, this is polypetally means with free petals. This gamopetally is with fused petals, and monoclamidy where there is no differentiation in calyx and corolla, but instead of this calyx and corolla there is presence of perianth. So this is monoclamidy. So polypetally again has different series, that is thalamiflory, deciflory and calyxiflory. Gamopetally again had three series, that is inferi, heteromery and bicarpellity. And monoclamidy again had different series. Out of that, first is curvembry, second is multiovulate aquataceae, third is multiovulate terrestris, fourth is microembry, fifth is Daphnes, sixth is Achlamydospori, seventh is unisexuals, and eighth, that is Ordines anomaly. Then monocotyledons are again differentiated into different series. Out of that, the first one is microspermy, second is epigyne, third is coronary, fourth is calicini, fifth is nudiflori, sixth is apocarpy, and seventh is glumaceae. So this is about outline of Bentham and Hooker's system of classification. Merits and limitations are not actually part of your syllabus, but for your information, we should go through the merits and limitations. So it is a great natural system of plant classification. It is very convenient, means easy to the taxonomist because it has a precise description based on live specimens or preserved herbarium sheets. So they all herbarium sheets are available. So you can see actual all the plants included here, that is 97,205 species that can be seen. The description of plant species are easy to follow and of practical utility for identification of species. It has also taken case to provide information related to geographical distribution of various genera and species. So along with botanical information, geographical distribution, that which plant is present at which locality, that is also mentioned. The placement of monocotyledons after dicot. So first they place dicots and then they placed monocots. So this is actually finding agreement with the prevalent view among taxonomists. So this is acceptable that dicots are primitive and monocots are advanced according to this system of classification. It has some limitations also. Why? Which limitations are there? If you see that gymnospermy is put in between dicots and monocots. So this is one group, dicot, that is primitive. Another group is there, that is monocot. And this dicot and monocot both are groups of angiosperms. But if you look into the details, in between dicot and monocot, they put the group gymnosperm. So in between one group of angiosperm, in between second group of angiosperm, they put another group. So actually this is wrong, and that is one of the limitations. System also does not take account of several important floral characters and also neglected some evolutionary considerations with respect to genus, family and orders. So due to neglect or negligence of the floral characters and evolutionary characters, some closely related families are placed away from each other. Then monoclamidae as a subclass has been found to be an artificial group because calyx and corolla in first group, calyx and corolla in second group. In first group, calyx and corolla free in first group. In second group, it is fused. But the third group they formed, that was of perianth, and it seems to be little bit artificial. And so that some of the closely related families like Chenopodiaceae and Caryophyllaceae got placed away from one another. So these are some of the limitations. Here you will see the taxonomic hierarchy. For dipod, we will start from the class. So here you will see class in dipod, and similarly you will see class among monocots. But after class in dipod, the another rank is there, that is subclass, which here you will not get in monocot. After subclass you will see series. After class in monocot you will directly see the series. After series, here you will see another rank is there, that is order, which you will not see here. After order, next is family, here next is family, here next is genus, here next is genus, here next is species, here next is species. So in dicotyledons, here you will see two additional ranks, that is subclass and orders, and such ranks are completely absent here. So actually this is also one of the drawback, as this is not uniform for both classes. Okay, so remember the subclass and order, these two ranks are not at all in monocotyledons. So this way we have finished studying this part. The next part, that is differences between dicotyledons and monocotyledons, will be shared with the next video. Thank you.